Hello everyone, welcome back to my Sedyanka channel. So today has been a slow day. It was full with work, but it was very foggy outside. And it was one of my earlier days of the week. I typically wake up at 4:30 a.m. Today I got up at 5:30 before the sunrise, which I love. I really appreciate that because it gives me time to contemplate. I light candles, I make coffee, and it just feels so cozy, and it allows me to gather my thoughts in the morning to kind of start fresh and think about what do I need to do during the day? What do I need to cover? And kind of reflect a little bit. So I did my work chores, and once I was done with them, the fog wasn't going away. By midday, by early afternoon, the fog was still there. It was just a milky fog, heavy fog. I had not seen such a thick fog, and I definitely appreciated it. I decided then to pick up a few objects, like old projects that I've worked on. Here's a little basket I crocheted a while ago, and a little chicken. And this is not my invention. This is a pattern that I took from YouTube, and I'll be happy to include the link for you to see if you're interested in making your own under, like, in the section of the comments. But this is going to fly for Bulgaria. I've decided to send it to my grandma. So here's a little wing I'll have to attach to it. And I love it. It's just a little crochet chicken. So cute, so adorable. It has a little beak and all the attributes of a chicken. It's going to go in its own little basket. But as I was working on this and kind of contemplating, okay, I completed the chores, what next? I caught my thoughts that they were ruminating on a theme that I have been wishing to cover with you for a while. And so I said, okay, that's the perfect opportunity. Let's just call people for Sedyanka. Of course, this is done electronically on YouTube, but back in the day, that's what I would have done. Or nowadays, in a Bulgarian village, I would have called my friends and neighbors and said, hey, let's sit for a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. I did make a cup of tea in a little Bulgarian, authentically made ceramic cup. Let's see. And it tastes nutty, chocolate-ish. I did not create the concoction of the loose leaf. I did buy this one, and I love it. I appreciate going to antique stores or tea stores, buying loose leaf tea, farmers markets, anything that's handmade fascinates me. So that's where this came from, one of those recent stores. So I'm just going to plunge in. I'm just going to get into the topic today because this is a hot topic. And just to kind of preface, I will always have my accent and I'll always say these things, but you know what I mean. Even though I was born in Bulgaria and I went to school, elementary, middle, high school, I covered that in Bulgaria. I was not taught this piece of information that I'd like to share here with you. And I've taken some notes. I have done some conversions with regards to measurements because measurements are different for other parts in the world. I have memories of how much this has been hidden from us. And so when I moved to a different country, I actually learned a lot of historical facts from local foreigners rather than my own country back in the day. So that led me to questioning why is that? So the topic here is the earliest European civilization. What is the most ancient European civilization? It's kind of popular nowadays. We talk about China and India, Latin America, we talk about Africa, we talk about tribes all over the world, which again fascinate me, and I love learning world history. But my world history classes never included the oldest European civilization, let alone the fact that it turns out that it started on nowadays Bulgarian land. So yes, so the lands of contemporary Bulgaria is actually the location where the earliest European civilization originated. Okay, so now let's talk about it a little bit. Where is Bulgaria? Well, Bulgaria is situated, if you have checked the map, and feel free to do that, it's situated on the coast of the Black Sea. So east from Bulgaria is the Black Sea, south of Bulgaria is Greece, north of Bulgaria is Romania, and west of Bulgaria, roughly speaking, is Serbia. And then southeast, we have a little bit of a land sharing there with Turkey. That will give you a visual. So practically Bulgaria is situated in the crossroads between three continents. This is Europe, Asia, and Africa. And you can only imagine that for millennia, this has been a hot spot of exchanging merchandise and people from all over the world traveling and meeting, conglomerating there. So here are some facts. So basically, what has been discovered is that this civilization that originated in the lands of Bulgaria reached great success, the peak of success and advancement in our history way far before the Sumer and Egyptian civilizations. During the course of 2,000 years, today's Bulgaria land was among the most culturally advanced region in the continent. The first farmers, those people who knew how to tend to the land and they knew how to raise animals, as well as potters, weavers, jewelry makers, people who understood how to work on, they knew of metallurgy, how to work on metal, architects, strategizers, mathematicians, they actually emerged in the big cities of that civilization. They built cities with large population, and in those cities stood erected tall buildings with multiple levels, and they were built from stone. So excavations at the great island in the village of Duran Kulash Lake, this is in Bulgaria nowadays, were discovered. They discovered that there were leftover stone-built houses with multiple rooms in there. So in the center of this city, this place, this region, stood a tall building that was a castle temple. And the measurement says that it was 300 square meters, which when I converted equals 984 square foot. In this castle temple, the priests created the first system of written symbols. That's what we call pictograms. You can imagine that skilled craftsmen worked for the richest citizens at the time. So again, they weaved, they created jewelry, they created pottery, exquisite goods, which then were being sold by the merchants on the crossroads, commercial crossroads for that time. Also, they say that the military clashes were so rare that future generations ended up calling this era the Golden Era. And just for a moment here, I cannot help it but wonder what must it have been like to live in that time. Especially, you know, what did people do at 5:30 in the morning? What was a typical thing? You know, did they drink coffee? Did they, you know, how did they schedule their work schedule? What did they wear? What was their emotional well-being? If I lived there, what would I be doing? That's the romantic fantasy kind of part of me. But to kind of keep moving here with those facts, I also read that in 1972, near the city of Varna, was discovered the necropolis. Now a side note here about Varna, this is one of the major cities in Bulgaria. It is situated on the east coast of the Black Sea. It's also my own hometown. I was born in Varna. I was raised there. I lived there. I went to school there all the way to high school. And so I remember that in one of my earlier classes, a teacher took me with my classes to see the Museum of the Necropolis. And it's a heartbreaking memory because what I recall is that I did not appreciate it. They say that we don't appreciate the things that we have right here, right now. That was my story, unfortunately. And a teacher took me to that site. And all I remember was it was a sunny, hot day, and I looked forward to sitting beneath the a nearby tree's shade so that my classmates and I could just run away and go, like, be done with school. However, later in life, the more I read, the more fascinated I became. And so here's what I discovered. And my heart has been on the mends. It's left such an impact that I'm still hoping that one day I can go back and touch and smell and imbibe the energy from my ancestors that lies there in that site. So what is the necropolis? The necropolis is an ancient site that is believed to be a tomb site. It has been a tomb site, and it dates from around 4200 to 4000 BC, to say the least. The archaeologists have explored and studied 294 tombs at the necropolis. And so what's stunning is that inside of them were discovered 3,000 exquisite golden artifacts that weighed a total of, I converted this, 14.33 pounds. That's 6.5 kilos. So other than gold, the people also worked on copper. And so one-of-a-kind copper spearhead has been discovered there, and it is unique for the land of Europe. In Bulgaria was also found another golden treasure that dates from 5000 BC. This is an amulet with a stylized form of a human face. And so it was found during an excavation near the village of Hotnica, which is close to the region, in the region of Veliko Trnovo. Now, to give you another personal detailed fact here, I have family from Veliko Trnovo, and my own friends and family used to take me on short trips in my childhood. It has left some of the most romantic and beautiful memories of this. It's a mountainous region with cobalt stone, old buildings, just beautiful, crystal clear air, and it just inspires me with awe. I have very tender, sweet memories from that place. In 1969, near the Bulgarian village of Gradeshnica, was also found a plate with 24 etched symbols. So many figurines were discovered there as well. But what the scientists have figured out is that this actually represents the first form of written language that has been known to humanity. It's old. And so around the middle of 6000 BC, upon the lands of nowadays Bulgaria, appeared the earliest in Europe articles that were made from gold and copper. And as we can see, there was already a written system with its own symbols that was implemented. So here's something. In one of the tombs of the necropolis, to be precise, that's tomb number 43. They didn't name them according to how they, like, the number, the sequence of discoveries. They found that a young man had been buried, and this man was young and strong, and he was tall. They say 170 centimeters. That's 1 meter 70 centimeters. I did convert it. It turned out to be 5'7". In other words, this gives us clues that the people from that time were strong, robust. They were tall. They were healthy. So they were wealthy. They were not only rich and wealthy, they were educated, they were civilized. And so along with that, what they have discovered was also a scepter of a king. As a matter of fact, they have discovered different tombs of multiple kings. So this gives us a clue that in this ancient civilization, the concept of a king priest was well known. we'll be touching base on a lot of these things and details about these facts in the future episodes as well. So the ancient civilization near the Black Sea was a rich one, and proof are those artifacts. But it wasn't only the gold and the copper that was popular. Towards the end of 5000 BC, were erected also the first fortress walls with towers. So practically, this is the first stone architecture in Europe. Toward the end of 5000 BC, from the northern shores began to the northern shores of the Black Sea began to rush in dangerous invaders that were tempted by the riches of the Chalcolithic society, that civilization. And so our modern historians call these the Indo-Europeans. They had a cavalry, they had horses, and so they would cover vast lands from West China to the Atlantic Ocean, from Malaysia in the south to the Iranian lands and India. And keep that in mind because we'll be covering curious facts about those Indo-Europeans in the future. So this is clearly seen from archaeological excavations near the Chalcolithic city in the village of Junacite in Pazardzhik, which was also built around 4700 BC. They actually call this the first city in Europe. In Bulgaria, here is a bonus, have been noticed interesting and mysterious virtual triangles that connect ancient and sacred sites. And so Christos Molenov is a researcher who found out that there is a precise proportion between those sites. Our scientists and kind of people in articles and books have expressed how hard it is sometimes. It is really difficult to believe that we can be and we are the inheritors of such an old and advanced civilization. So I pause and I'm thinking, wow, this really does deserve a moment of silence, a moment of contemplation. It brings up lots of questions. But basically, this researcher noted that knowledgeable and skilled people at the time knew how to build gigantic landmark mounds, and they also produced thousands of tons of pure copper from the mines of Stara Zagora and again the Varna necropolis. And when they connect those sacred sites, the scientists, the archaeologists discovered that this is a indication that the foundations of geometry began there. So the researcher and his colleagues emphasize that it is namely the Varna civilization that is the mother that gave birth to the measuring system, and it predates Sumer and the Egyptian civilizations. So here is another sub-bonus about measuring units that I thought was curious and I took note to share with you all. The famous King's Elbow measuring unit was used to build the Egyptian Pyramid of Giza. But did you know that this measuring unit was actually invented 2,000 years before that pyramid? And this has been evidenced by reference objects in the Varna necropolis. That blows my mind. I don't know about you all, it blows my mind. So the same has also been discovered in regards to the so-called Nippurian elbow. I've taken notes of these things because I wouldn't have known about them had I not read and dug into Bulgarian resources of this kind. But they say that the Nippurian elbow was a measuring unit in Sumer. According to the same researcher, Smolenov, even the Egyptian measuring unit of Het, which is equal to 100 king elbows, is included here. So the researcher noticed the same measuring unit being present between the Varna necropolis, the archaeological reservation of Sborje Novo near Sveshtari and Veliki Preslav. And these are sites we can discuss in future videos. The point here is that this virtual triangle turns out to fit in with the Pythagore. So I will leave you with this. Um, this is a moment to take a sip, take a deep breath, and I will invite you to reminisce on this. What is the meaning of preserving cultural history? What is the whole point? What does it tell us about ourselves? How would you feel if you could walk on one of those sites, connecting with the stones, the earth, the spirit of one of the earliest European civilization, of people who walked on those lands and knew how to build buildings, how to work on metal, how to derive metal. They knew how to strategize and do archaeology. Um, how would you feel about this? And if you have more information about um, this type of history, feel free to share in the comment section. I will be happy to read your comments and also questions. I'm glad that you joined me today, and I will look forward to sharing more information in future episodes. So I hope that the rest of the week goes well for you. I appreciate you, and I send you all the positive thoughts and vibes. Thank you. Bye bye.